Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 81 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is YarnderWoman. I am not on camera right now. This is YarnderDog. You can find him on Instagram under my name YarnderWoman, but he has his own hashtag, YarnderDog. This is going to be a different episode from normal, as you can tell, from the fact that the opening is quite different. I have not had a chance to record a normal episode, but I have been taking lots of vlog style footage for you, including lots of knitting, but also some other bits and pieces of my life and a lot of YarnderDog. So without further ado, I will take you in. I will try and edit so it's as smooth as possible, but being vlog style that we will be jumping around a little bit. But you'll see lots of YarnderMum, a little bit of the Yarnder nibblings, and as I said, lots of YarnderDog, and definitely a lot of knitting. So it'll be a different episode from normal, but I hope you will enjoy, and I'm very glad to have gotten an episode out to you, even though it's different from usual and took a lot longer than I had hoped to be able to get to the computer and edit. But enjoy, and I'll hand you over now to all the fun things I've been doing lately.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did that.
What do you reckon, Mum? What do you reckon, Grandma?
I don't know.
So exciting. Hello.
Hello.
Did we have fun today?
Yes, very.
Good. And who did you buy, Liam?
Slothy. Hello.
Hello, Slothy.
Yeah. Hi.
And what did you buy, Emma?
A book.
Of
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. And that's what we've been watching on the movies.
Mhm.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Slothy. So here we have Yarnder nephew Liam modelling the blanket. Woohoo! And who uses the blanket, Liam?
The toys.
The toys. Very cool. And how many toys can fit under it?
About 20 maybe?
20 toys. Wow. And what do you think of the colours?
Good, because they're my favourites.
Very cool. And do the toys like it? I'll just
Yes.
zoom in on the colours there.
They used to not have a blanket.
Oh, well, I'm happy to have provided one for them.
Yeah.
And I'll just show here. Got the purple's pretty soft still, and the yellow's gone quite firm, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Just different types of yarn.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, thank you. We'd better wrap the toys up again, hadn't we, so they don't get cold.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
I haven't seen this for a while. It's a knitted dinosaur that I made Liam a few years ago. He's just constantly grazing. That's what we'll say. Isn't he so cute? And this yarn is Cyborg's Craft Room in the Mai Tai colourway. And I think it just looks beautiful knit up. You can see all the beautiful speckles. I can't remember what this project, the pattern is called. It'd be something like Diplodocus. And I believe you knit the whole body and head, and then the legs were knit separately and stitched on. So yeah, I'm not sure when I made this, several years ago. So it's very cute to see him again. Bye bye. Mwah. I've lost it.
Coming.
Hello. How you going, love?
Hello, gorgeous.
How you going? So I got a present for you.
Oh, a present.
And it's knitted.
Music.
Knitted. Knitting. Oh, here we go.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? No, how long did that take you to?
Maybe over the course of a week or so, probably. What do you reckon? Oh, I think it suits you. Goes with what you're wearing today.
Look, it's so soft.
And there's all different kinds of textures and feelings.
Well,
And look. Oh, got a chill. Look, it says your name there in beads. Kathy. And little teddies.
Look, it is just salubrious.
Wonderful. Salubrious.
Eh?
Salubrious.
And this one, yeah,
Yeah. A hot dog toy.
that's a hot dog.
Yep. It's a joke, see? Because it's a doggy, but the dog looks like it's a bun and there's a sausage on his back.
Who are you? So you can put this. This is a winter one.
That's right. You can cuddle him now that it's getting colder. But it is warmer today, isn't it? So what do you reckon? Shall we show the camera? We've got some flower ribbons at the top there.
Where?
And here.
Lava.
Flower. I hope there's no lava. And there's little teddy buttons with your name.
Oh, gorgeous.
And look at these purple beads here.
Yeah.
Aren't they gorgeous? Which part is the softest, do you think? Can you touch it? You touch it with your hand. What do you reckon?
I think they're all wonderful.
Good.
You've done all these by yourself.
Well, I did this one. You can put it on your hand, that's right. And then you can wear it, and then you can play with it and touch it. Isn't that nice? Oh, I think I got the colours right. There we go. Should we have a nice cup of tea now?
I did.
Do you want to have one now?
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Who are you again?
I'm Melinda, your daughter.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous. Well, I think you'll have a lot of fun with that.
I think that is superb.
Superb.
Oh yeah, that is magnificent.
Good, I'm so glad you like it. I made it just for you.
Thank you.
Do you want to have a nap?
Hey?
Do you want to have a nap?
No, it's just... Do you?
Yeah, but I won't. Yeah. Not really, only joking. Maybe we'll have a nice cup of tea.
Yes.
Alright. Okay. Say goodbye to the camera.
Goodbye, camera. This is only...
It's going to be on the podcast.
What's it?
It's your YarnderMum.
Mm.
All your fans. Say goodbye to your fans.
Goodbye, fans and new knobs.
Exactly. Okay, this is very special mail. Hopefully you are following Aya, who is Mythica Fibers on Instagram. And she is a hand dyer based in Yokohama, Japan. And she had put a call out for people who might be able to knit her some samples of her yarn. And as such, she sent this to me with a bit of a discount and free postage just to be open. Oh, look who's visiting us. It's Smudge. He thinks there's food. There's nothing there, darling. Sorry, back to the yarn. Yes, so to be open, Aya gave me a discount and free postage on this, but I would have bought it anyway. It's beautiful. So this is her label, Mythica Fibers. And this is one of her newer colorways, which is Phoenix Rising, because I'd said, you know, if she ever had any red colorways, I'd especially like to do those. This is more, it's an orangey red, but it is so beautiful. Actually, there's no but, I just mean it's an orangey red, not a bluey red like I normally you know, lean towards, I suppose. But this is stunning. So, so pretty. Now Smudge is eating the tablecloth. Oh, it's not a tablecloth, table protector. There's no food here, Smudge. I hope you don't mind all the YarnderDog interactions, shall we say, instead of interruptions. So what I'm going to do today is wind this beauty and start knitting the sample. Now I feel terrible because Aya sent me this a couple of weeks ago, and I put it aside because I wanted to really be able to focus on it and make it perfect for the sample. And then, you know, life got in the way. I got really sick with sinus infection. So my apologies, Aya, but I'm going to get it to you as soon as possible. She also sent me this beautiful, this is the label there. It's also the sock, the same sock blend. Sorry, I'll show you there. 75-25 on her sock base. So this is the same blend, but it's a one-of-a-kind colourway. Beautiful brown, really, really deep tones to it. It's looking a little bit lighter on camera than it is in real life, but I think that's just, I've got the sun coming in from the east over that way. So that's beautiful. Then she sent me a paper crane. So beautiful. I love paper cranes. Her note paper, I won't show the letter, but it's a little cat with yarn. And that's Aya's business card, so that's all her details there. You can shop for her yarn on Etsy. And yeah, definitely follow her on Instagram, because as well as her beautiful yarns, she's been a very vocal voice in the discussion on inclusion and racism and lack of inclusion. And she posts in both English and Japanese, so it's great to see the engagement with the Japanese community. And she also sent me 2 tea bags. Now these are just the packets because I drank the tea as soon as they arrived. So this is a sencha, which is the normal green tea bag, and this one is hojicha, which, as you can see there, it's roasted green tea. So that's really nice. That was really nice. It was quite a cool day that I had that one, and it's got that rich flavour from the roasting. So yes, I kept the packet so I could show you, but the tea is long gone. And actually this brand, this is Oi Orcha, sort of like a slang of delicious green tea. That's my favourite brand of green tea in Japan, so you know me well, and it's the same brand here, just a different type. Yes, you know me well, Aya. So yes, I'm going to get winding and then knitting. I can't wait. I'll tell you. How pretty is this? Look at all the beautiful variegations and tones. Oh, stunning. It's really glowing in this light. It's not quite as glowy in real life. Look at the beautiful different colours there. Just gorgeous. And YarnderDog update. He's brought all manner of toys, bits and pieces, and it's basically very annoyed that I'm not sitting down nicely with him and that I'm not playing with him, and I'm just not being a good grandma right now. Poor Smudgy. Today is my rusted day off, and I'm going to do some mending. If you've watched the last several episodes of the podcast, I've been talking about my desire to do some mending, noting that several podcasters have been talking about it. Lovely Isabel from Fluffy Fibres and Anushka from, I was going to say A Sour Telling, but that's her Instagram name, from the Crimson Stitchery. And I've been, and oh, of course, Mars from Hey Brownberry is doing the Finally Fix It cowl. So there's several inspiration points, and today is the day I'm actually going to repair something. So what I've got here is an apron, cotton apron. It's a MasterChef branding from when did I buy this? Years and years and years ago. I was quite into MasterChef, but this was, I think, on clearance, so I got it for quite cheap. So it's 100% cotton, so it's really good, but only one of the ties is still with us, so it's going to be nearly impossible to see there. So it's got pockets at the front, but a while ago one of the sashes fell off. Don't know where that is now. What I found though, just randomly, I was getting something else out of the cupboard. I found this nice satin ribbon, and it's sort of doubled over. You can see, if it'll focus, that it's got a seam on this side of the ribbon. Oh, there you go. You can see it down that bit. See where my fingers are waving? So it's folded over, so it's thicker. And it's this nice, it's more of a burgundy than it's showing up there. So I think that can be the new seam, because it's doubled over. It's quite strong, and I think that will nicely fix that, so I can use it properly, because what I've been doing when I have been using it, it's silly. In fact, I don't use it very often because I just use other aprons that are, you know, more functional. I've been tying, this is the strap on the neck, and it's adjustable, so it's got this extra bit. I've been tying the strap to this, which means it's just coming up the side of my body and it just gapes, and it's silly. So a ribbon will fix it. And over here we've got a lovely tea towel. So Anushka on the Crimson Stitchery showed how she'd repaired a tea towel using some cotton thread. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with mine yet, because I don't know if I have anything that would be similar to that. I might just, you know, cinch the little holes together so it will pucker a bit rather than be flat, but I think that should be okay. Maybe I'll do one that way and we'll see how it goes. I have no idea how these holes got in there, because there's several here and here, so it's quite appropriate that I'm doing this one. This is from the Australian War Memorial. I think my mum got it for me, and I say it's appropriate because last week it was Anzac Day here in Australia and New Zealand, which is, Anzac is Australia New Zealand Army Corps. They were the name of the army group that went over to fight in World War I, and it's what we have as our Memorial Day, in addition to the Memorial Day on the 11th of November that a lot of other countries have as well. But we have Anzac Day, as a public holiday, and poppies are the symbol, and that's from the War Memorial in Canberra. So, appropriate timing. It just seemed like this was a good place to start. I've got a lot of tea towels with little holes, and it was getting quite overwhelming, so I thought this way, just do one. If you start with one, more will follow, and it won't seem so overwhelming. And this is so pretty with the beautiful poppies. It's a bit faded, doesn't look as faded on the camera as it is, because I just wash all my tea towels in the normal wash and hang them outside, and that's fine because they're functional as well as a little pretty. So we'll see what we can do to save this. And after my sewing, I'm going to read some of this lovely book, Craft for the Soul by Pip Lincoln. So Pip has a very long-standing blog called Meet Me at Mike's, and Pip came to the Perth Writers Festival a couple of years ago, and I was very excited to meet her and get my book signed. But I never finished reading the book, I think because I don't commonly read paperbacks. I sometimes tend to forget about them. But the other day, Brooke McAllery from the Slow Your Home podcast was talking about something on Pip's website, and that reminded me. And how cute is that? It's a little French bulldog wearing pom-poms. So yes, that reminded me because I've just finished reading a paper book, and I quite enjoyed it. And this is beautiful. This is a little bookmark made for me by my very good friend Julia, 9craft11, friend of the podcast. She often has, her name comes up in terms of bag making and such. So that's awesome that I've got that there as a crafty bookmark for a crafty book. And while I was reminded of Pip's website, she has a lot of free crochet patterns because she's a crocheter more than an editor. And there's a crocheted log cabin blanket. I'm quite interested in giving that a try, so we'll see. There's too many things on my to-do list already, so it won't be any time soon, but I'm going to keep the tab open on my iPad, and we'll see. Now, I'll just slowly swing you over here and show you Smudge. He's calm right now. Having a little sleep. This is not streaks in his fur. We haven't been giving him a punk haircut. It's his collar. And when he first got it, he didn't like it, so he used to scratch at it, and that just made the fluff come off, as you can see there. But now he has, yeah, cool streaks from his fluffy neck fur. So first up, I'm going to do the ribbon. Oh, Smudgy's interested now. You have to excuse the mess that's on the couch. He's found some plastic thing out in the garden, and there's now bits of it and the garden all over the couch. Never mind. Oh look, and there's his baby blanket that I knit him, and see how much he's pulled at it. That's fine, it's his blanket. Isn't it, Smudgy? It's yours. What a good boy. So, at the risk of him deciding to chew this, I think I'm going to fold it in half, because you can see that length, it's only slightly shorter than the actual strap, and that still gives me, you know, about that much to sew it on. So I think that's going to work well, because I didn't want to cut it because it is a folded ribbon. I didn't want to have to, you know, re-stitch it. Oh, he's going for it. Thank you. Oh, this is going well. There we go. Thank you, Smudge. Oh, poor doggy. Never gets any fun, do you? But as for this ribbon, I have no idea where I got it from, or what it was for, and why is it folded in half? I'm assuming it was just wrapping for something, because I keep wrapping in ribbons and all sorts to reuse it. So I assume it just came on something, but who knows? Now it's going to find its new home on this apron. First part done. I've just sewn the ends of the ribbon together. It's not the neatest stitching, so don't look too hard. I didn't have a thread colour to match the ribbon, and the only red I had was quite a bright red, so it wouldn't have looked any good anyway. So I've just gone with black because that will tone in with the apron. So I just did, gosh, I don't know what stitches are called anymore. It's been a while. Is it a running stitch? I just went along to sort of cinch it together, and then I did a mattress stitch over the top, and, you know, threads got stuck, and as I said, it's not that neat, but this is just to hold it together because I'm then going to sew down this part to the apron, and then the rest of it will be the handle. I don't think I'll stitch along the ribbon. I think I can just leave it open and it'll still be okay. If that then goes, you know, weird when I'm wearing it, I'll adjust it then. While I'm stitching, I've got my iPad here. I am participating in the online program Mindful in May, and that's organised by Elise Bailu. And here we have Kelly McGonigal, who you may have heard of. She's done a lot of TED Talks. She's a research psychologist, and she does a lot of work on stress and the mind, and her latest work is about how we can harness stress to not think of it as negative. And actually, one of her TED Talks was actually used in a training course I did recently, so that's really interesting to sort of see that in a work sense, and now just hear about it more generally. So Mindful in May, you sign up for the course, and every day you get a 10-minute meditation, a guided meditation, and then also interviews with people, sort of experts in their field about mindfulness and how the brain can, the neuroplasticity, how the brain can be changed to the good. Anyway, obviously I need to change my brain with some more coffee so that I can get my words out properly. But back to sewing and listening of these two very intelligent women. So there's a little flap, which is where the original sash was, so I'm just tucking it in there, which is going to work out quite nicely. And I'll just sew back and forth around. It's almost like a little pocket, and down here as well, and then we'll be good to go. And it's done. It is not the neatest stitching in the world, but I am not going to let, I think it was Gretchen Rubin said, don't let trying to be perfect be the enemy of the good, or words to that effect. So yeah, I stitched in the way I wanted to stitch in the time that I had. It's not the neatest. I'm glad I did black thread because the back is not that neat. There are threads that got caught up, but I don't care because I am really, really proud of myself for overcoming the anxiety and overwhelm that I was experiencing. And I'm not being silly when I say that, you know, I have an anxiety disorder, and all the things I wanted to mend and that needed mending were stressing me out. So choosing to do just one, stitching in the time I had available with the energy that I have, and I've made a really functional new handle, and it's pretty. And, you know, it's not that neat, but I really like how it looks. It sort of reminds me of a strawberry, like the little seeds. And I did a little bit of stitching, so the ribbon came into this little, the fold up here, so it's going that way. So I've done some stitching over there to secure it in place, and then quite a bit along there to sort of go roughly in line with the actual apron. And yes, I think that is going to work out really well. I will use it later when I'm cooking dinner. And now I'll finish listening to this interview. I might make myself a cup of tea, and then on with the next crafty adventure. I set a timer to give myself a 15-minute block to do some reading and finish my cup of tea. Just got some herbal tea there. But I've just snoozed the timer and I want to keep going. This book, it's with the byline there, How to Get the Most Out of Your Creative Life. As I said, I bought this a couple of years ago and I hadn't really read it. I'd flicked through it a bit. So it's not just about craft, it's just about good living and how to have contentment, and it's so on point with the sort of books I'm interested in and like to read. I'm so happy I have this. Talk about a nice little surprise from the universe. And how things intertwine, you know. It was through the newsletter, which Brooke McHallery calls the Slow Post from the Slow Home podcast. It was through that she mentioned it, and that mentioned Pip's website, and that reminded me that I had the book. I'm currently listening to a book all about brain plasticity and mindfulness, which ties in with the Mindful in May. It all ties together. So if I show you the contents here, you see each of the chapters comes with a recipe. It's talking about, nice times, not chasing happiness, but looking for, contentment and nice things. Wake up, so morning routines, that's something I really am working on. Ideas, creativity, but so many recipes. And then look, over here, there's a whole lot of craft projects. I'm interested in this one. Is it 5-finger discount knitted pom-pom scarf? Your best angle brooch. Hello. Very excited for that. So yes, needless to say, I am loving this read. There's my lovely bookmark. So I've just started the chapter on the morning ritual. So I'm not very far in, but I am going to give myself a little bit more before I have to do some more chores. Yes, love, 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 love. And something I love even more is Smudgy. Here he is. Oh, hello, darling. What a good boy. Oh, big sigh. Must you film me all the time while I sleep? Yes, darling, I must. And the yarn is wound. Down, it's very sunlit. Now I've got the sun coming from the north, so it follows us. But the yarn is beautiful. It's got those purples, the orange, reds, the reds. So beautiful. So pretty. I'm going to be doing a square swatch with garter border and then stockinette in the middle. So it's going to be very fun. I've got my Totoro Needles Notions there. Needles Notions? Needles and Notions case. And that is from Little Skein and the Big Wool. Alright, so time to cast on. And I might look at what audiobooks I've got to listen to. Okay, I've cast on for the second time. I decided I had too many stitches on my first one. The lighting is a little different, this time not from the position of the sun. Well, yes, the position of the sun, but not in relation to it coming in the window. It's now almost 5:45 at night. Smudge and I went for a walk earlier, so I've had a bit of a physical movement in between my sitting and knitting, which is nice. I have downloaded a new audiobook. This is one I had on pre-order and it just came out today. It's about using the power of your period to live your best life, which is similar to the show I saw at the Fringe Festival earlier this year by Lucy Peaches. Similar sorts of ideas. I think they're not connected in any way. But yes, looking forward to that. I'm actually going to see Lucy Peaches again later in the year, which would be awesome. Actually, I might knit her something. Maybe a knitted uterus. Depends how complicated the pattern is. Anyway, I'm going to be doing for this swatch garter at the bottom. I think I'll do 3 garter ridges, then go into the stockinette with garter on each side, which I think will be lovely. Now, because it's nearly dinner time, I think I might have a glass of wine while I'm doing my knitting and start listening to this new audiobook. Do boring self-care before I have a glass of wine. I'm going to do the dishes, empty the dishwasher, and I've put on, I like the Night Jazz, this particular one, who's that by Relax Music channel. basically anything called night jazz seems to be my sort of thing for the jazz on YouTube. So I like putting this on sometimes when I do cooking, and it gets me more in the mood to cook dinner. Tonight I don't have to do that because I've got leftovers, which is great. But I'm going to get... Oh, you might hear Smudgy. Hello? What you doing, Smudgy? What's Smudge doing? Where's Smudge? Where's Smudge? Oh, here he is. Hello, darling. Hello. What a good doggy. What a good boy. What a good boy. Focus, Melinda, focus. Okay. You've got your dinner. I don't have anything more exciting. Right, focus. Empty dishwasher. Oh, by the way, here's our cool little magnet, so you can tell if stuff is clean or dirty. I think I might have shown this on the podcast years ago maybe, but it's an axolotl. How cute. So I'll flip it over because I'm going to be emptying. And as fascinating as that is, I'll leave you here because I'm sorry to disappoint that you can't see me put away the dishes. I know it's tough. So as well as my wine, and got all Smudge's toys in the background there. It's journaling time. I've been getting more into journaling lately. I usually do it in the morning before I go to work, but because today was my day off, I hadn't done it yet, and I thought I might. I had some quiet time. I was going to have a bath actually, but Sophie's just got in, which is fine. So instead I will cleanse my mind instead of relaxing my muscles in the bath. I've got my planner here. I don't tend to use this as much, and nothing to do with how beneficial this journal or planner is by St. Belford. It really is good. I'm just not in the habit of using it, which is something I do want to change, so we shall see. So here, that's the spray bottle we use. We don't like to do negative reinforcement, but sometimes he gets a little bit nippy, don't you? Mm-hmm. But yes, I want to use my planner more. I think the problem is as well, or the issue, it's quite hefty, and on the days that I catch public transport and I have my backpack, I don't want to add, you know, that's quite a significant extra weight. So I don't want to put it in my bag, so I have to think on that. Does anyone out there use a planner, and how do you use it, and do you have any issues with it as well, either the ones I've talked about or any others that you've experienced? Let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to do some free journaling, which like a brain dump, or morning pages, evening pages, whatever you want to call it, and we'll go from there. So I've got some yarn to show you, YarnderMum.
Oh, good.
This is from Japan.
Really?
It was dyed by a lady named Aya, who lives in Japan.
Gosh.
Isn't that exciting?
I think I'll wheel it out a bit.
There you go.
When did you go to Japan?
Well, I went to Japan in 2017 last, but this came in the post.
Oh.
Isn't it pretty?
The pig.
Isn't it pretty?
Oh. It's like in the window. Where are they from?
Well, this yarn comes from Japan, and the lady who made it is in Japan too. It's come a long way, hasn't it?
Sure has. I'll give it back.
All right, thank you. And this is what I'm knitting with it. I'm making a little swatch. It's coming along nicely. I'm nearly finished. What do you reckon of it? Pretty, isn't it? You taught me how to knit.
Pardon?
You taught me how to knit.
Yes.
In fact, when you came to Japan.
Yes.
So it's thanks to you that I can make these nice things. You're pretty clever, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, you're very clever. You can do lots of things.
Yes.
Lazy Sunday morning. Well, it's only 7 a.m, so, you know. I have been up for an hour though. This is a project I cast on earlier in the week, and it's the Tale as Old as Time cowl, designed by Anne Valley of Little Skein. I knit one of these a couple of years ago for a friend, and if you're not familiar with the pattern, it's a really long cowl, and in the original pattern, half is done with one self-striping colourway and half with another. But what I did with the one for my friend is I did half in self-striping and half in a variegated, and that was all in shades of purple, and that turned out really, really nicely. I wanted to make one for myself for a while, and using this colourway that you may have seen me knit with before. Sorry, trying to do all this one-handed. Over there, that's all Smudge's toys and associated mess. This is a Knit Picks Felici, and it's the Firefighter colourway. I've knit a hat in this colourway before as part of my charity knitting, and when this colourway came out last year, because I don't believe it's available at the moment, unfortunately, I think I bought 8 or 9 skeins of it because, yeah, it's a colourway that really, really spoke to me with the reds and greys, as you can see. Red and grey, it's everywhere. In fact, we've even got red and grey walls over there. So yes, I bought quite a few of these. I do have some thoughts too. There's that jumper out or sweater, and you use sock yarn for the sleeves and a solid for the body. So maybe I'll use some for that, but in the interim, I've used one for a charity hat, and I'll be using 2 for this pattern. So I'll just knit a tube. This end will get sealed up. It's use a what is it, Judy's Magic Cast On. So you're just knitting a tube cowl, but this end will get sealed, and I just haven't done that yet because I needed to get the appropriate sized needle. If you can hear some puffing, it's Smudgy's having a good sniff around. What you doing, Smudgy? Oh, waggy tail. Oh, and while we're here, I'm wearing hand knit socks. These are ones I knit for YarnderWoman a couple of years ago. So they're a little bit big for me, but I use them as bed socks, and I'm still in my jammies. I'm just trying to see if I can show you. There's a heart motif on them, knit in lace. And this is Cyborg's Craft Room yarn in the Broken Mirrors, Broken Minds colourway, I think in the sparkly base. So back to this. I had been knitting this on 2 circulars, like half and half, because that's how I like to do my socks. And that's how I knit this project last year. Sorry, not last year, the last time. But last night I thought I'll try fitting them all on one needle, because I think I have 110 stitches around. And this is a 40 centimetre needle, I think that's 16 inch, size 3mm. That's the size I use when I make the charity hats that you would have seen me make recently and I do the 3 needle bind off. And they're usually a minimum of 140, sometimes up to 160 stitches. So at first I'd thought that wouldn't be enough stitches to go around. But I'm really glad I gave it a try, because it does fit really easily. It's not too tight, and it's so much easier to just go round and round and round and round, not have to go to the end, change needles, go to the end. Because these are smaller, there wasn't a lot hanging out the sides. So at the bottom here, just to hold the stitches, I've got much longer needles, and there's the ends hang out more, but there's issues in tangling. So, everything, there's pros and cons for both. But being able to fit it all on one needle and just go round and round and round, so much easier. I think it's going to make the project a lot quicker, even more mindless, or I don't like to say mindless because I try to be mindful, and that's my aim anyway. But yes, very much muscle memory, I guess we could say. This little marker is where I started doing in the round rather than on two circulars. So you can sort of see there's like a little fold seam. That's where the two needles had separated. That will completely block out. But it's sort of, that will be, you know, when it's flat, when it's a tube sealed up, that'll be there. So I'll leave that marker there because I'll be interested to see if my gauge changes at all. It won't be major and it won't affect the project. It'll all block out evenly, but it'll be interesting to see if there is any change or not, just for interest. And I've got this in a Tangerine Designs bag, cute little lovey creatures. I think this was a Valentine's release many years ago. Very cute. So that's how I'm spending my morning. I will be doing some meditation for my Mindful in May course that I'm doing. For now I've got the ends of my lovely coffee. This is my Corbe Starbucks mug, which is I think my sentimental favourite mug because Corbe was the city I lived near, the biggest city I lived near when I was in Japan, when I lived there. Lovely. I'm having a very nice morning. All these colours make me extremely happy. So I'm going to knit on this a little bit and either listen to, I think I'm listening to the Law podcast. I started that last night, but then got too sleepy too early, so I turned that off. So I think I'd listen to that, either that podcast or another one, and then maybe my audiobook. Either way, it's going to be a nice morning before I have to start doing chores and things. There's no food, Smudgy. There's nothing here. I'm just making coffee. Poor Smudgy. Alright, what you're looking at here is a much tidier side table. I was going to do a before and after, but I didn't want to immortalise the absolute chaos of mess that has been sitting here for far too long, because I'd rather look at the nice tidy space. I've got essential oil going here. I've got spearmint, which is really nice and fresh for the morning. It's mid-morning now, but still, it's morning. I've got some more oils in there, plus some hand cream, lip balm, that sort of thing. My current book that I was showing you earlier, and some very cool Japanese coasters. I've done a little bit further on my Tailor's Odd of Time as Time Cal. I've put a new progress keeper on. That's where I started knitting earlier today. And this is a very special progress keeper. It's a spoon. I've mentioned on the podcast before, you may have heard elsewhere, people with chronic illnesses. There was an analogy used by a blogger, which is butyoudonttlooksick.com, where the kind of energy that you lose with your chronic illness is referred to as spoons. And a very lovely friend, Emma, sent me this. She said she was sending me her last spoon. I hope you got some more, Emma. But how sweet is that? She sent me a spoon. So that's my progress keeper, which is very lovely. You may have noticed this earlier, but I didn't mention it. This is some more yarn because when I seal up this end, I need to seal it up and then knit over a little bit. And then once the whole thing is done, I'll be Kitchenering the other stitches. So there's probably a lot more there than I need. And the reason I put it in a little bag and there's a safety pin on it, when I made this project last time, I remember just having all this yarn just hanging there, even though I'd tie it in a little ball or whatever. It just hung there and it was always getting in the way. So this, even though it's twisting a little bit here, it's much shorter because I've put the safety pin through the yarn that's in there, which means it keeps it at that length. So it has been much easier. It's still a bit fiddly with all of this, but And according to the pattern, I was only supposed to knit a little bit before sealing this off, but I haven't, so it doesn't make any difference. It wouldn't make any difference if I didn't do it to the end, but I will probably do it soon because then it'll just get it out of the way. But I am enjoying just going round and round and round. Uh-oh, that's coming near the end. Don't come off the needle. I think I'm going to get some needle stoppers for this because that will be helpful. But another thing that will be helpful is, can you help me out choosing my second colour of yarn? So this is a very cute Dust Bunnies bag from Bird Leg Bags, who's sadly no longer making bags, but there you go. Aren't they cute? So I've been keeping all the spare yarn in here. You can see there's the second ball of the stripy one, so I'll be using 2 balls of that. And speaking of, this is my project page on Ravelry. I just got Smudge to pose with all the yarn because he's so cute. Here he is here. He's in sleepy mode again. Isn't he, darling? Back to the knitting. So let me see if I can pull it up. Here we go. This is from the pattern page. That's Anne who designed the cow. So you can see there's two halves, one of each colourway here. So I'm going to have my first one as these stripes, and then I'm going to have, instead of another striped colourway, these are the 2 I'm thinking of. And I'm not sure. What do you think? Let me turn off that iPad so it's not shining on us. So this one is another Knit Picks yarn. It's the Hawthorn Fingering Picnic kettle dyed, so it's a lovely tonal variegated red, and I think that red matches quite well. You know, they're both Knit Picks, so they're probably coming from a similar dye place. But my other idea is this beauty, which is by my very good friend Meg over in Sydney, the other side of Australia, Atelier Yarns. There's her details there. And this is the Cylon colourway. Cylon being a reference from Battlestar Galactica. And so earlier, you may have seen on my Ravelry page, I've called this project Toaster Stripes, because in the show Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons are robots and they call them toasters because an earlier model of them had like a red line going across, like the line of a toaster. That's the reference for this colourway and my overall project. So this one, the reds are not quite the same. This is much brighter. It's not, the difference isn't showing as well here in this light, but this is much brighter and it'll be quite variegated. So it wouldn't be, you know, the reds are just occasional. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, this is actually my second skein of this. I believe I bought one and Meg sent me the other one, or she may have sent me both. Sorry, Meg, this is a couple of years ago, so I've forgotten, but you were very generous and sent me lots of other stuff anyway. But I've already knit one into a scarf, and I think that was an 80-20 base, whereas this one's a 75-25. So I know it knits up beautifully, and it is like lovely tonal and variegated greys, then with these pops of red. So I'm thinking this one will go the most in terms of grey is actually the main colour of this striped yarn in the 2 shades, with then less red. So I'm thinking that would keep it all very much in the same family of greys and reds on both sides. Whereas this one would just give me like a real pow of red and then just have the stripes on that side. What do you reckon? If you've got any thoughts on this, please do let me know in the comments below on YouTube or on the Ravelry thread. I think as I'm looking at them, I'm leaning towards the Cylon because of the grey inclusion, and that would give the overall project a grey with red feeling, whereas this one would give me a red with grey feeling. And hey, look, both would be great because I love red, and you know, there's no problem with, for me, having too much red in a project. And oh, it's hard because these reds really do match better than that red, but there is those other shades of red in the other tonal bits. Oh, sorry, variegated bits. Oh, it's so hard. So yes, if you've got an opinion, let me know. No huge rush because I'm still got to go through the rest of this ball. How much have I got left? The rest of this ball and a whole nother striped one. The good thing about these stripes being uneven is, I mean, the red's the same each time, but when I join the second ball, unless it's just a little blip of red, it won't make any difference really to the stripe sequence because there's different thicknesses of the greys. So that will be quite handy. So yes, thoughts on second colours. And Smudgy's moved over, I must have been disturbing him. Sorry, Smudgy. I'm just taking a break knitting on the top. So this is where we were before. That's my spoon. And I'm closing up the bottom section. And I've just started. It's using a 3-needle bind off. And, sorry, just a 3-needle closure, not a bind off. So I've only done a couple of stitches, but you can see they're still there. So that's going to give like a garter row or a purl bump row going across, and then I do a couple more rows of just knitting there, and then that end is just sitting and waiting till later, and I go back to just going around and around. The main reason I decided to do that is I'm listening to a podcast. I did finish the Law episode. Law, if you're not familiar, is a podcast all about the weird and wonderful things in life. So it's or in life, you know, in legend, in myth, in actuality, in history, you know, old practices, that sort of thing. It's very interesting. But what I'm listening to now, if it will show here, there we go, the Low Tox Life podcast, which is one of my absolute favourites. I've learnt so much from that. It's an Australian podcast run by Alex Stewart. She's wonderful. This one is with Dr. Cherie Campbell, and it's all about toxic people in your life, but actual abusive people, particularly family members. So yeah, I guess a trigger warning on this one, depending on what you're going through in your life, it may not be the right time for you to listen to it. If you do listen to it and you need help with anything, please, I'm happy for you to get in touch with me, or there's Lifeline or other support services, or your own medical professionals. But I've talked on the podcast before and on Instagram that I grew up in a family with domestic violence. Not my lovely mum, YarnderWoman. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, mum was a huge victim, as was my brother and I. But sorry, we're survivors. We were victims and now we're survivors. But yeah, so I'm halfway through, as you can see, and it is a bit challenging, but I've worked a lot on my own trauma from this. I have complex PTSD from my childhood, but I have had a lot of therapy about that, but it's still something that I am working through. So because it was getting a little bit challenging, and I thought about stopping, but it's not too bad, and I would like to hear what the rest of what is said. I wanted to do something a little bit more challenging, but still straightforward. Hence I've gone to the 3-needle bind off here, just for the moment. And that's going to be really good. And then I'll go back to that, and I might then make some lunch. I think I'll make some hummus. I've got some black beans in the fridge that need to be opened, so make a black bean hummus. At the moment, give it a bit of a stir. Just got put some almond milk into some of my pour over coffee to make an iced coffee. You see, almond milk goes a bit funny, but that's okay. Still got my spearmint oil going, which is very lovely. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but Damien's composing some guitar music at the moment in his study / music room. Oh, I've also tidied the table. Isn't this cute? It doesn't, the colours don't really go, but that's right. It's like a mesh netting, very 70s, I think. It's like polyester, I believe. It's not hand done with the printed pictures, but this was all in my mum's boxes of stuff that my brother and I recently finished going through. So I don't think this was ever used. I thought, why not? It fits the table, and I've got this very cute heart-shaped vase that's from Japan. So yes, I am going to do some more knitting, have some more deep thoughts, and then make some lunch. 3 needle bind off complete. When I got here, you can see it's a little bit weird. I think when I'd done the, what do you call it, the cast on, I've gone blank. It's not Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. Judy's magic cast on, there we go. I must have put the wrong bit of thread on the wrong needle because I just had a big sort of loopy gap here. So it's noticeable in that it looks like there's a purl stitch there. See here, and then the stitches go a bit weird. So it was all loose. So what I did as I got here, when I was doing the cast off, I cut off a little bit of yarn from the other end of the ball and looped it in and sort of tightened this all up so that even though it looks a little bit strange, it's really not going to be noticeable when I'm wearing it, especially if it's being looped over. And because it's on the part of the colour change, the grey purl is still part of the grey there, so it's not too much of an issue, I don't think. And yeah, whatever, I don't care. It's not an issue, so it's not an issue. Let's just keep repeating that. So I will now do a couple rows of garter stitch at this end before then going back to the loop. Gotten into a cooking prep, I wouldn't say frenzy, but it's going really well. So under here I've got just some stir-fried capsicum, some onion, and I'd actually chopped that onion, so it was in the fridge raw for a couple of days. I chopped it the other day when I was doing something else, so thank you, past Melinda. This is just one of those fly covers, even though it's a grey day outside. We've got some flies coming in. I'm going to cook up something with dried lentils there, and this is something that's very cool. This is an app by Deliciously Ella. So this is an app by Deliciously Ella, which is a podcast I've mentioned before, and it's really good. You pay on subscription, so I think it's like $1.50 Australian per month. I think it's 99 pence in the original money that it's set in, and you can look up different types of meals. You can type in the ingredients. So because I've been looking up lentils, and it'll come up with possible possible recipes, but then if you hit search, it brings them all up for you to go through. So this is awesome. I'm not affiliated with it at all. I just really like it, and it's all plant-based food, which is fantastic. And another thing I prepared is chopping up carrot sticks for snacks, and I've just put them in some empty jars and filled them with water. And that will keep them fresh, and then I'll use the water in the garden so it won't be wasted. And so I just need to drain them each morning and take with them. And it's good morning from me. It's about 5:30 a.m. on Monday morning. I'm getting ready for work, and the first thing that involves is glorious coffee. So I have my coffee grinds in here. And I've got this pour over device, I suppose it is. And the beauty about this is, commonly with these sorts of pour over filter things, you have a paper filter, but as a way of having it be no waste, in this instance, it's a stainless steel filter, which I think is pretty cool, and it's very easy to use, and it makes delicious coffee, which is very important. Got a Kyoto mug today, very pretty. And let's get this coffee party started. I've lately started filling up my mug with hot water before serving the drink, and that has really helped in terms of the coffee not going cold as fast. Who'd have thought? I know, I invented that. No one's ever thought of it. Yeah. I'd love to get one of those gooseneck kettles. Out of those, and they've got like the long thin spout. Maybe one day. But this is our new glass kettle, which I'm very excited with, because if you join me over this side, it's got different controls for different things. Oops, sorry, the light's getting it. So different temperatures for different types of drink. This excites me no end. So we've just heated to 95 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's usually around about double-ish. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this coffee. It's serious business. So the coffee's nearly ready. Massive rain has just started, if you can hear that. I'm wearing my Melinda shawl today, and I wanted to remind you, because we've got the Melinda shawl knit-along happening until the 14th of May, which is coming up close, and especially depending on when I get this uploaded. I haven't had access to the computer very much lately. Damien, who's the computer is for his work, has been working. Oh, weird. So yes, if you haven't yet started the Melinda shawl, there is still time. You don't have to finish by the end of the cowl. It's just cast on, whips, finished objects, whatever you like. So the Melinda shawl was designed for me by Victoria Zakanowicz, who is Devixter Designs, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's very simple but brings up really beautiful texture. Oh, that's a baby gate for Smudge there. He's not here at the moment. We're getting we have to get some stuff done around the house outside, so he and Sophie have gone for a little sleepover at Sophie's Nana's house. So there's no Smudgy to show you right now, unfortunately, but there will be more later, I'm sure. So while I'm cooking dinner tonight, I'm also going to be making some vegetable stock. Because I was getting some things out of my freezer, and I found several jars where I've been collecting like offcuts of veggies. So you can see there's some ginger skin here, lots of onion skin, some ends of celery, all that sort of thing. So I'm just going to boil it up in some water. Any veggies that are looking sad in the fridge, throw them in, strain it off, compost the bits, and then I've got some fresh veggie stock. So that will be not used tonight, but probably frozen, used for something else. Tonight for dinner, I've just done some roasted frozen broccoli and cauliflower. So just a bag of the frozen stuff and roasted. Then I'm going to use some tinned plums, Moroccan spice, got some cooked onion, and some leftover tomato puree. Throw that all together and make a thing, some sort of Moroccan inspired thing. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I ended up putting some kidney beans that I was soaking and cooking, so I had those ready, so they are in there for a protein sauce. And whoops, sorry, knocked the camera. I think it's looking pretty good, pretty yummy. I've got some buckwheat pasta in here that will go with it. Yeah, pretty simple dinner. Here's the stock cooking. Ooh. See, look, all that in the steam. Let me just clean the lens. I actually had to record this a couple of times because each time the steam got in the way. But it's looking pretty. I know I've seen a lot of people doing natural dye with yellow onion skins, but these purple ones are making a beautiful colour. So I wonder if anyone is dyeing with purple onion skins. Maybe they're less common in other areas, I'm not sure. I'm gonna move away now because all that heat is not feeling very good on the camera. Yes, I'm quite happy with this. Only need to feed Damien and myself for dinner, so there's probably going to be at least one, usually probably 2 portions of leftovers, which will be very handy indeed. I finished my swatch of Mythica fibres. and the joys of blocking are going to help with this. It's all very wibbly wobbly. But it's such pretty yarn. Again, the lighting's making it look a deeper orange than it is. It's a bit more fox coloured, I suppose would be a good description. But yes, I'm going to get this in soaking, and I will show you when it's all lovely and straight and flat and beautiful. Alright, it's nearly 6 AM on a Wednesday morning. I'm heading off to work shortly, or to my commute. I'll probably get to work about 7:10. But it's getting chilly in the mornings, and I remembered I had these awesome fingerless mitts with Wonder Woman symbol and colours. Now, I got these in a swap package for the Tiny Owl Knits Tokmas, Tiny Owl Knits, like Christmas end of year celebration. And I'm blanking completely on who made them for me, so if it was you, please get in touch and remind me or help my memory. But they're just gorgeous. So there's the thumb hole. Let me try and put one on. Bear with me while we're here. Look, I've got a Lego Wonder Woman keyring and Phantom of the Opera and a little soot ball from Studio Ghibli. There we are. Aren't they cool? There's little hand covers. Cool Wonder Woman symbol done there on duplicate stitch. Oh, so happy with those. So excited. And today I'm going to wear my Miss Winkle shawl. This is a pattern by Martina Bem, and I knit this along with my friend Jana Nav. Hi Jana. We did a little mini knit along, and I think it was something in Mel Ski's Ravelry group. She was then single-handed knits, but joy of joys, she can now knit with two hands. And that's how Jana and I met. It was like make a friend in the group and knit something together. So it's very cool. Like Martina Bem does the hitchhiker, or did the hitchhiker pattern. So it's a similar construction, but instead of little teeth, you have these loops, which were very good fun. But this was several years ago, and I think at a couple of points I got my loops going the wrong way. There you go, there's an example. So you can see that one comes up, that one goes down. But who cares? It does not make a difference. I actually gave this to my mum, and it was hers. But as with other things, I don't leave all her knitted items at the nursing home. I just take things along for her to wear when I'm there, and I take them home to just save them from the harsh wash, which is fine. Means I get to enjoy them as well and have a little bit of YarnderWoman with me. Lovely black currant yarn. So yes, I'm going to head off shortly. So first it's time for a hot beverage, and then heading out into the chilly morning. And the swatch is finished. It's turned out so beautiful and flat now. Oh, this is such beautiful yarn. I really recommend Mythica Fibres based on what I've knit here. And this colourway is just gorgeous. I think I weighed my leftovers, and I think this took about 2 grams to do this swatch, so I've still got 98 grams left, so you know, pretty much the whole skein. So yes, now to plan what to make with it, because it's such a lovely foxy colour. I'm not sure. My mind is ticking over. So my tailor's orders time cowl is going really well. I've actually finished the first ball. So the other day I had a training course at work, and that was where I started. There's my little spoon. So that was where I started. I got all of that done, and when I was about here, I started looking at my yarn, and that was sort of quite early in the, not early in the morning, as in early in the day. And I thought, I'm going to run out of yarn before the end of the day. I'm not going to have any knitting, because I didn't have the second ball with me, because I just grabbed my knitting bag in that morning and hadn't thought about it. And I started getting a little panicky, and I was like, well, I'm not going to have any knitting. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I like knitting while I'm learning. Then I was like, okay, just relax, don't worry. If you don't have any knitting in the afternoon, you know, you can just give your hands a rest. And I was like, yep, I'll do that. But I really want to do some knitting. And I was like, just let it go. Universe, help me to let it go. And I did. And I was like, yep, cool, that's fine. And then about a minute later, I was still feeling fine. And then I went, wait a minute, I have more yarn in my cupboard at my desk. And I remembered that I had some needles and cotton yarn for the craft group at work to knit some face washes and things for charity. So it's like, haha. So even though I was relaxed and okay about not having any more yarn, I was able to then let my brain go and remember I had more yarn. So then it wasn't too far before the end of the training session actually, but I started this face washer, and I think I've already started the decreases. So yeah, I got over halfway done. So yes, thank you universe and my subconscious, once the panic of no yarn had subsided. So today I'll be joining this second ball here. So that'll be, I guess, twice that length. Which actually doesn't seem that long for half the cowl. I thought it was longer. Because there'll be 2 of that and then the same again. I suppose it's quite long, but I don't know. But whatever, I'm not ripping it out. I'm not ripping it out to make it thinner. So this is what it is. I guess maybe it might just be a, you know, slightly shorter cowl. Anyway, whatever, it'll be what it is. Hello. Yes, it is odd what I'm doing right now, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed that little bit of vlogging, and I hope to see you again very soon. Possibly for another normal episode or another vloggy episode, but there'll always be more smudge. I hope you're having a lovely day. Until I see you again, happy crafting. Bye bye.